wondering if they were planning on doing something shady, and clearly they did. And
that was clearly a setup.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
They came specifically to bully and humiliate him.
Absolutely.
And he rolled with it pretty damn well.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, right? I mean, English is his third language.
Well, and
he rolled with it about as well as he could, and then he left. That's the important thing. He left with his head up.
Right. I thought that, and it was interesting to watch his expressions. There were a couple times when he would say things about Ukraine, like where Zelensky was like, "Are you fucking kidding me with this? Are you saying what I think you're saying?"
Yeah.
That was nuts. I also, I did not do economic blackout because I shop locally with cash.
Yeah.
So I did the none of the big stuff, no credit cards today.
I did pick up some pills at Target, but I think that's acceptable to pick up your prescriptions. Other than that, I just went to a local coffee shop.
Nice.
Just like I do every single morning. I mean, you can do that in this town. Like in Snellville, there's no such thing as local in Snellville, Georgia. Like suburban Atlanta has nothing local. It's all massive companies.
Right.
But speaking of, I did the theater history tour as a benefit for Snellville Performing Arts down in Gwinnett County, Georgia yesterday. They made $1,400.
Come on!
So yeah, and plus they got a matching donor, so it's really $2,400.
That's great.
So
thank you everybody. Outstanding. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, it was good. We also got some new people down in Georgia who'd never heard of us tuning in and seeing what we're all about.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was great. I don't normally make $1,400 myself on a virtual tour, so I never would have told them to expect that much. But people dug deep. People saw that this was a good, inclusive space for kids who really need one.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And we put on a fun show too.
Excellent. That's what we need more of. I think that's how we get through this, is supporting groups like that, and the community is part of it. Activism is another part of it. Going door knocking tomorrow. For anyone who wants to go door knocking in Milwaukee, go to OperationSwingState.com.
Yeah.
And they'll give you information on where to meet. I'll let Maggie know that we'll meet her up there.
Yeah. What's the plan, Patty? When are we leaving?
I would think probably around 10, if that's okay.
Yeah, I can get you at 10.
Yeah, that's not. If that changes, I mean, it won't be earlier than 10 because it's only an hour and a half drive.
Right.
And Maggie said we were meeting at noon. I feel like it gives us some time.
I'll pick you up at 10, but keeping in mind, I can never guess how long it's going to take to get to your neighborhood from mine.
I know, because we're straight west from you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I leave at like 4. If I leave at 4:15 to do the 5 o'clock radio show, that'll usually get me there in time.
Right.
Except for the times when it doesn't. Then it's only 20 minutes back because there's not traffic, though.
That's okay. I'll just be getting ready. No worries. I'm packing for my trip to New Orleans. Is probably what I'll get up and do while I wait for you. I don't know if I have very many Fibs for Wisconsin buttons left. We'll have to go to Walmart and ask them to make some more for us because they were gracious enough to give us a ton. But we'll be going up there as well. This go around, we're going with Operation Swing State. We'll probably be teaming up with indivisible Illinois groups to go up to Wisconsin as well. And so we are campaigning for both the Supreme Court race. I mean, there's a lot of municipal races. I'm sure they'll tell us about those.
Yeah.
But Susan Crawford is the judge that we're trying to get on the Supreme Court, and the school superintendent race, because Musk is pouring money into a candidate who is a charter school executive and wants to continue to divert money away from public school funding to parochial schools and for-profit schools. So for those, I really resent how much people fall. I resent the groups that manipulate people and say, well, wouldn't you want your kid to have a choice? That kind of idea. But even if you support a choice, so many communities do not even have access to the schools that you are diverting public from your
right. Where are you supposed to find one of those private schools in rural Wisconsin someplace,
Exactly.
Oh
my God.
Like, they're going to be a school like that in, like, Lake Como, Wisconsin?
Right.
And there's plenty of places more remote than that. Yeah, Patty's mic is probably echoing. That's because I got it going on here so I can hear it. I'm turning my own volume down, hoping that'll help it a little bit.
Oh, I'm not hearing an echo, but it might be.
No, it'll be coming up over on the feed more than this because it's all going through the microphone here, and I got to be able to hear you. Sometimes these things happen on OBS.
I gotcha. I I totally forgot about this story, but it's still making its way through the Indiana General Assembly. They're still working on this to basically annex dozens of Illinois counties.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about that? See ya. Go ahead. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. You will have less funding for infrastructure. You will have less funding for public schools. Go. See ya. I have no problem with that.
Now, Patty, I have added the feed onto my YouTube channel. Somebody asked in the comments if we could be on YouTube as well.
I love it.
So I just clicked the button here on Restream, so now we're also on youtube.com/Adam Seltzer. I got a few people coming in here too.
Cheers.
So hi everybody on YouTube. You can those of you who don't like being on Facebook, just head on over to youtube.com/Adam Seltzer. We're running here just like we do on my Thursday night tours that I run most Thursdays. This week will be an exception. I'll be off in New York and not running the tour. But then we'll be back with the virtual time travel pub crawl for St. Patrick's Day.
Excellent.
And then Prairie Avenue, I think I'll do after that.
Perfect. By the way, Adam, I like your haircut. I don't know
thanks.
if it's
thanks. It just really just hasn't dried yet.
You didn't get a haircut recently because it looks a
I
little
did get one a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, maybe I just haven't seen you since.
Getting back down, I'm working on. I got some spray to try to arrest the receding hairline where it is. Yep.
I hear you. I have patches. You know.
Yeah.
It just happened. That's why I have my bangs strategically placed. For those of you just joining us, not sure if you're new to Whiskey and Cookie in general or just want to switch over to YouTube, which I completely appreciate and support. I would like to figure out a way to move. Maybe we do need to, folks, if we move to YouTube permanently, and I mean, I guess we could simulcast onto Facebook still. But
yes, we can simulcast onto all over the place. If we're going through OBS and Restream, it's a piece of cake.
Because right now I can go to YouTube. I've lost the ability to go on live on Facebook through my Facebook page for a while.
Yeah, if you do it through OBS, it'll probably be all right.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Since you know more about these things than I do, if I wanted to create an anonymous sort of like Substack, because if I put my email address attached to that, but if I created one, I've heard about ones like by a photon, I guess.
Yeah.
Or I mean, with that, but the problem I have is that people who create like a VPN and all this stuff, like I don't know the ins and outs of all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't really either. I mean, I'm sure it's not that difficult. I've never really bothered with it too much. I figure nobody's really coming after my ass.
Right.
I'm just too much of a small fry for the most part. But should I do? There are certain things while I like open private browser. I don't know how much it actually helps, but
right.
Certain things, at least that way, when I'm surfing regularly, it won't mess up my algorithm and start. Like, anytime that I'm doing research on, like, Civil War stuff and I have to look up Confederate shit, I don't want them thinking I want to shop for Confederate shit. So I'll do that on some other browser or something.
Oh, I see. Go to the library.
Yeah, anytime you got to look up something that you know is gonna get you weird ads.
Right. Yeah. I felt bad when I was working at WGN because I didn't quite absorb that.
Yeah.
And one of my producers, like when we would play What's in the Box, right? So it was about adult toys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you making me do to my browser?
Yeah.
Which we need to bring back to some live performances. I want to start doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
For folks who live in Chicago, coming up on March 6th or in the Chicagoland area, we are relaunching Tata's Kitchen and Social comedy shows. It's going to be every Thursday. I'm not hosting every single show. I'm planning to be on all the shows because I'm trying to work on new material. But starting next Thursday, that'll be Paul Farvar along with comedian Steve Goody, Tyler Fowler, and I will be on the show. So I think Avi Sanchez might also be on that show.
Awesome.
So that's next week. And then on March 13th, that's my show. We're doing Tequila and Shamrocks
Nice.
for St. Patrick's Day. And it'll be Joe Kilgallen, Jaime De Leon, Jeannie Dugan, and me. So this will be a fun little show to do. So that's March 13th. It's, you can go to Tata's on social media and learn more about all the great shows. So would love to see you guys come out. Would love the support.
Yep.
And I'm going to try to figure out a way to tour with a comedy show with my regulars on WCPT because we are expanding into Seattle. We already are carried in Minnesota. We're talking to some other stations like in Pennsylvania and North Carolina. So the sad thing is it's because is that my show is in more demand, which is why I'm also like, how do I get an anonymous email account for other things? Just saying.
Getting an anonymous email account isn't that much of a challenge.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that. And I also
Plenty of people who are not as smart as you figure it out.
Also, I'm really excited. I finished my first draft of a chapter for Chicago Girl about my family and our connections in Chicago. And it's funny to say connections because I kind of alluded to the fact that my dad knew and cops, firefighters, and mobsters. So
yeah.
So the first chapter is going to drop on Substack next Tuesday. I'm going to start on Tuesday. I just want to polish it up, have Steve go over it a little bit. But it's going to be sort of snippets of chapters for my book, Chicago Girl. Just because I just want to get started and get it out there, and But yeah, it's I'm excited. Finally, it's only taken me what 5 years since I'm writing 3 books, and they're all stuck in the pipe. So I
gotta. I know it all too well.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. I decided to start with where my parents met. Have I told you this story, or have you heard me tell this story?
I think I have.
So my mom was coming here because she was just struggling in Mexico. She was a divorced mother of 3, and she chose Chicago for various reasons. But they used to encourage migrants to come to Chicago or different parts of the United States. So she was going to come here on a green card. She thought she could get a better job with the federal government in Mexico City, and had this whole plan. And rather than catching a bus, she caught a cab, and my dad was her Irish cabbie. So that was. So I'm starting with that story. That. So sort of starting with a little bit of her background for the first installment, and then I'll do a little bit of his background. So I'm really excited. I'm finally. It's taken me forever to be excited about it. I mean, do you find in your process, like, is it for you? Is it sort of more clinical, like, because you wake up and write every day, right?
Nah, not really.
No? Okay.
No, these days I don't have a major writing project that I'm working on. I got a couple that are kind of in early stages. But I got distracted from them by doing this new theater tour and by getting all of the Patreon posts up for the next 3 months.
Right.
So.
And are the Patreon posts, are those are like some of the pieces that you've researched?
Yeah, it's like every Monday there's a Chicago history story. Then on Thursday there's like deeper research on that with stuff from the microfilm room, stuff from the newspaper archives, often stuff that you can't get anywhere else. Okay. Wednesday there's a coyote in a cemetery photograph. And Friday, if you're on the serial killer tier, there's stuff about old-timey serial killers, often, again, including stuff that you can't just Google.
Right. Yeah, that's great. I love that. And Patreon, I tried using Patreon years ago, but I never got the hang of it.
Yeah.
I think I still have like some subscribers to it. I hope that they stop their payments because it was when I was fired from WGN.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
So I had my last week. I had booked Carrie Elwes and Dacre Montgomery. Netflix was doing a PR tour with them for Stranger Things. And I reached out to them and I said, hey, I was fired. I can get a studio at Cards Against Humanity. Would they still consider, even though it's not WGN? And I will tell you, Carrie Elwes and Dacre Montgomery got out of the SUVs and they go, fuck WGN. And it was amazing. It was really sweet. And so so that still lives like somewhere, that interview with them. Yeah. I did a couple of other interviews that I was happy with, but then I started running for office and there was just no way to make that. So my apologies to anybody who still has a subscription. I hope that you remember to cancel.
With mine, I started it right when the pandemic started up, and I needed to come up with like some form of income. And luckily, the virtual tours took off enough that I got a lot of subscribers, and it leveled off at a certain point. I don't get a ton of new ones now.
Well, folks, subscribe to his Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/AdamChicago. Tons of cool stuff, but it is definitely labor intensive because this is like 4 posts a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So when I know I'm going to be on the road for most of the next 3 months, I want to get as much posted ahead of time as possible. So I got a lot of really cool stories, like weird murder stories that I hadn't seen before, but I found stuff on. One about a riot that broke out at a funeral at Calvary Cemetery one time. There's even a great drawing of like the corpse falling out of the coffin and stuff.
Oh my God!
Would not have been drawn from life. It was in one of those Eastern police magazines that used to come out. They were like basically Victorian versions of Maxim magazine. Highly illustrated magazines about sex work, true crime, and racial prejudice. Basically. Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that I think more people are going to want to have those sorts of escapes, of learning things. And never more now more than ever, I think that those stories, we need to be fed by history,
Right.
And the things that you cover might not necessarily seem like they translate to what's going on now,
A lot of
but
them do. And
yeah,
also, the biggest lesson I got doing the book about 18th century graveyards in New York, where a lot of our founding fathers are, is what a bunch of fucking weirdos these guys were.
yeah,
They were all a bunch of, probably all had syphilis for one thing.
yikes, yeah, that's right, and that affects your brain.
Yeah.
I've been thinking more about that lately, about, the way I've been trying to frame the concept of our independence and what the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, I've always tried to be okay with the fact that it was all white men, many
Yeah.
of who were comfortable with slavery, many who owned slaves, all who didn't think that women deserved the right to vote or participate in our democracy. I felt, okay, well, as long as they established the foundation to make it possible
Yeah.
the path, and that we had people along the way, Abraham Lincoln, who saw the Constitution as something that could, but in the 14th Amendment, left slavery as a legal option as long as you were punishing somebody.
Right.
And I feel so stupid because I only learned recently that, like, places like Walmart and Target are still profiting off of prison labor.
Sure.
With prisoners who are working the same lands that slaves did over 160 years ago. Like, I mean, like, it's not, we haven't come that far.
I don't think the guy who wrote the text, his name is like flipping my mind right now, who wrote the text of the 13th is buried at Oakwood Cemetery here. I don't think he meant for the accept to become that big of a loophole in it.
Yeah.
He was actually known for closing loopholes about slavery in Illinois laws before. Yeah, I don't know why his name is just blank. I'm just blank. I don't work at Oakwood Cemetery as much. They're kind of hard to work with, and last time I was there, they kept making us all move our cars because Farrakhan was coming into the.
Wow.
Yeah, having to move my car for one of the most successful anti-Semites of his generation.
That is a complicated situation, man. I mean, I get that.
We have so many interesting people there.
I'm trying to order a pizza not through Hulu, which would be weird if I was ordering pizza through Hulu.
That would be very interesting, actually.
I'm trying to order directly from a restaurant and figure out if I can pay in cash at the door. I told my husband we have frozen pizza, but he does not want to have it.
Yeah.
He's feeling Frank's Pizza, you guys, on Belmont is it's such an old school pizza joint. It's one of my favorites. And they have an app. They have their own app, so it's their own employees.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay the fees. We don't have to pay the fees. I just want to make sure I can pay cash at the door. Otherwise, I guess the best I can do is my credit card through Discover. I know Discover gives more money to Democrats. I'm trying to justify all these things. Like,
yeah.
I'm working really hard not to, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ambivalent about the economic blackout things. Everybody knows that you're just going to shop twice as much the next day, so I don't really think it's going to be enough of an impact.
We're not. We're gonna eat at the Brat Stop.
Oh yeah. Well, the blackout was supposed to be today, and.
Yes, exactly. I'm trying to think. I think I want. Sorry, I'm ordering some sauce. I'm getting a mixed basket of onion rings, mushrooms, cauliflower, and zucchini. It comes with ranch and marinara, so I think a little blue cheese would be nice with that, don't you think?
Yeah.
All right.
I already ate. I made burgers.
Excellent. I think a 20% tip for delivery is good.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Let's go there. Do that. And it's processing. Come on, complete the order. Excellent. All set. So now my clock is ticking, everybody. And then I'll go home and have I don't know if I want to have my THC beverage. I might have to wait a bit. I woke up with, and I don't know if maybe I've told you before this story. About 7 years ago, I woke up one morning and the room was spinning. I thought I was having a stroke.
Ooh.
Believe me, I know the difference between a hangover and what was happening.
Yeah.
And I thought I was having a stroke or an aneurysm or something, and it turns out I have vertigo. Which is the version of it because I know people think of vertigo as being sort of afraid of heights or feeling an imbalance, but this is where there's a crystallization in your ear canal, and it's the weirdest treatment, Adams. It is basically a positional thing. I had to get on my knees, look up, look down, turn my head, put my head on the floor, and I have to tell you, I had to go through that last time. I had to get anti-nausea medication, and made it through it, but knowing that I can treat it is so much more, like, believe me, this morning I was like, I hope I can fix this.
Yeah.
Because it's like almost like movie like quality of just spinning. It was really, really bad. And I was trying to walk through the house, and it was like I was on a boat like during a storm, and the waves were just taking me around. So for anyone who's ever dealt with this, and you don't, and maybe they try to do medications, please look for a video on YouTube. It's out of Colorado. This doctor out of Colorado does this sort of positional movements that you can do to treat because it's taken me almost 7 years to be this bad again. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
But it was so surreal because the whole world was spinning for me, and then that fucking exchange in the White House. I was like, am I having vertigo again?
Yeah.
What is happening? Is this real life?
I had an ear treatment done one time where I had to like go like this, and they would like put some bubbling water in there with a machine, and then like started poking it with a pin. They had a theory that what was causing my chronic cough was like a hair tickling my throat.
Oh God.
And it was not, but they went through a rather painful. This was this old hillbilly doctor. I really thought he was going to tell me to like bury a potato in a graveyard under a full moon or something for treatment.
Right. Stand on one foot, put your finger on your nose.
Oh yeah.
Almost like a sobriety test. Like, what the hell?
Oh yeah. Remember one time in school, we had a substitute teacher who just told us, "Oh, all you guys just study for a test or something." A couple of us stood up. A, B, C, D.
Yep.
That's pretty edgy for middle school.
I never understood the do the alphabet backwards test. Like,
yeah, who can do? Most people can't do that normally.
No.
And actually, when I went to traffic school, the cop told me I don't make people do that because I can't do it when I'm sober.
Yeah, because I would have to go through the entire alphabet forwards to get to the next letter. A, B, C,
Yeah.
D. Okay, Z. I
can't do it backwards. I learned it backwards when I was a kid.
Okay. So, there you go.
Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A.
Excellent. Well done. Anyone else? I did not hear from Elliot, or I know Ez has been very busy. I think that her work is is a little more full on Friday nights, so we haven't heard from her lately. Miss Esmeralda. We didn't hear from Scott. I can't be on him every single week. I'll try to see.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always like, "Are you guys on?" We've only missed now. I know I've missed a couple, and thank you so much for your patience, everybody. It is exhausting. Going through a lot of this. I will say there's an onslaught, there's an acceleration on my Facebook page. Maybe some of you have seen it. We went viral with one post. We had over 4.4 thousand comments. I woke up to like death threats and, shut up, you liberal whore. And then I work all day. I have a state job where I'm trying to estimate what the ramifications of cutting Medicaid and Social Security, like, almost 900,000 people, if we don't get funding for Medicaid, Medicare, and about almost 900,000 people are going to lose their insurance almost automatically.
Yeah.
If that funding falls below a certain level. People who were we actually lost Medicaid in January, and Steve is paid as Declan's caregiver, and we lost that, and we can buffer that because I'm employed, I have the radio, I do other things. But imagine families who don't have that kind of cushion, who don't have that breathing room. We have breathing room, and if anything, I have good credit. Which isn't great for the long term, but that's how I got through the pandemic. It was like I knew I would be able to sustain myself that way. But over 72% of families like mine are single parent households. So you have mostly women. Oh my God. Okay, so I will say it's really devastating to a lot of families. Who I have people who've been calling about senior healthcare facilities, senior homes, in-home care. I don't have good news about any of that. I can only encourage you to find the parts of your life and I would say if you are struggling, find the food pantries. I mean, like, there's no shame in knowing that you need to get something for your family. These food pantries do not ask about your employment. They don't ask where you live. There are a lot of mutual aid programs. I would say connect with them if you are in a position to help out, because a lot more people are going to rely on those food pantries, on all kinds of social services. I would also say if you have concerns and you are receiving supports and services, reach out to your case manager. If you do not have a case manager, reach out to the organizations that provide the services, the aging, the departments on aging, disability services, HHS, Healthcare and Human Services, Health and Family Services, and find out how you can connect with a case manager, or Google that, because you're going to need someone to help you navigate the next phase of what happens. So at any rate, yes, that's I don't have anything to. I don't have good news about that.
Right.
I only have the fight.
I can just say that it's another case where people don't realize how bad it is yet. When people actually start missing their payments when more and more people start missing their payments, you're going to see a lot more reaction than we're getting right now.
Yeah, and I did have a moment of, and it happened to me twice, just fits of laughter. And I know it's horrible, but I don't know if you saw the story about this woman she's like 24 years old. And she said she knew that Trump was a convict and a rapist.
Right, but she saw a TikTok thing that he was going to make IVF free.
I'm sorry, you guys. I know it's horrible, but she voted for him because she wants to get pregnant. He said that IVF would be free, but beyond that, she's a federal worker and she lost her fucking job. I
I feel bad for her, but do a little bit of fucking research. I mean, this was not like he was being that sophisticated with his scamming here.
And to that, though, Kamala talked about like the incentives for buying a house.
Right.
All kinds of programs that she was putting out there, and people are like, "Well, the Democrats just don't tell me what they're going to do for me." Like, what? Because she didn't talk about Hannibal Lecter. Yeah.
Here's the platform. Go read it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of at the point where ignorance just isn't a good enough excuse anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
What I worry about with my upcoming school tours is their parents that I interact with way more Trumpers on those school tours. It's very rarely the teachers. It's generally just the parent chaperones.
Yeah.
But I never meet them normally. I mean, we don't have to interact with too many Trumpers living in Chicago,
No, although my mom plays mahjong in the near suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say which in case I don't know that any of her friends or associates, like people that she plays with, would watch maybe. But she's not gonna go any because they got into this woman started a MAGA Trumper started I guess getting defensive about what people were saying, and she was saying how great of a job he was doing, and yeah, lady, you live in an affluent suburb, you daffy bitch. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I said it with a smile, with all the love in my heart.
All right, I'm gonna tell the joke that I've been trying to avoid because it's a little bit in poor taste, but we've all been sitting around praying that fucking Lex Luthor motherfucker would die, and the wires must have got crossed because that's not who we met.
No. What a weird story that is. Yeah. Hackman.
It sounds like carbon monoxide or something to me.
It sounds like it, but they haven't said that, which is weird.
Right. Michelle Trachtenberg, they said that the family declined an autopsy, but it sounds like but she had recently had a liver transplant.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, it was almost certainly just something to do with the liver transplant.
If you guys aren't familiar with Michelle Trachtenberg, my thing is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She was the key. She came in late season, like it was very weird because at first I was like, what? She has a sister? And then they made it work.
Yeah, but for me, she's still Nona Mecklenburg from Adventures of Pete and Pete, and Iggy Pop was her dad.
Yeah, she was in acting since she was a little one.
Yeah, since she was. Yeah, I know her from when she was a kid. She was a few years younger than me.
Okay. Yeah, that was a very sad story.
Oh, Eurotrip as well. That's correct.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Do want to mention, by the way, I don't know if Bridget's watching, but I do every show bring in my emotional support dumpster fire. So thank you. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Yep. So if
I only just watched Eurotrip for the first time a couple of months ago. It was the kind of high school hijinks road movie that they were just making too many of at the time. And still, I don't think it's a very good movie. But it's justified completely by the running thread of the song Scotty Doesn't Know all the way through.
Okay.
There's one of the characters is named Scotty, and his girlfriend goes up and even sings along with this other guy on a song called Scotty Doesn't Know That I'm Fucking His Girlfriend. And then everywhere they go, they hear like somebody else is playing and singing along with that. Scotty doesn't know, so don't tell Scotty.
I love that. I don't know if Audrey's asking.
Audrey Michelle Trachtenberg died a few days ago.
Which post? I don't know if she's asking about the post that went viral.
The post that went viral. Yeah, that was. I'll tell the story. I'm sure you're sick of it by now. It was a post of two people, one of whom is wearing a trans shirt and one of whom is a MAGA person. The MAGA person is saying, well, can't we all be friends just because we disagree on politics? Well, meanwhile, she's stabbing the person in the trans shirt in the stomach.
Yep.
Which is exactly the situation.
And the thing is that she could have been wearing it could have been a trans pride flag, it could have been a reproductive rights flag.
It could have been a Ukraine flag.
Ukraine, disability, elderly, whatever the representation was, is that anyone who... Oh, good night, Lady B. You too, thank you. Oh, I have to go soon. He walks up. Yeah, I have to go soon because... Bye, Lady B.
You got a pizza coming for one thing.
Well, that's going to be a bit. But it could have been anything, and it was really representation of if there are people in your life that you actually are friends with or love, and you voted for this piece of shit, you are fundamentally hurting threatening their survival. You are stabbing them. And I woke up to death threats. I woke up to just all kinds of, and I think because it was a trans flag. Because everyone, a lot of people were chiming in with like, they choose that, they're mentally ill. And okay, if that's really what you believe, then why would you still then not think they need support and love and care?
Yeah.
So what then? So stabbing them is justifiable. And that's something that's really...
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them. Fuck them indeed. So unless I start charging this, I should probably get going soon because they do lock up. Adam, you're traveling, you're leaving on Wednesday for New York?
I leave on Wednesday for New York, yeah. I'm going to see... I get there. I always fly in the day before the kids show up, just in case. So I can get I can make sure that all the subway stops I expect to be open aren't like bogged down with construction, and that way I have a free night in New York. So I'm going to go see the show Oh Mary, which is a drag show about Mary Todd Lincoln.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fantastic. Then the group comes. We're going to see Great Gatsby. We're going to see Hell's Kitchen, the Alicia Keys musical.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to this group. It's gonna be good. And almost everything they're doing is walking distance too. So there's like no use of a bus or anything.
Oh, cool! I love that.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, also I don't know if congestion pricing is still going on or what right now. But that was gonna make the buses are a pain in the ass anyway. I say this as someone who is on the buses all the time. I try to use them as little as humanly possible. But the adults especially will come in. We're walking 4 blocks. I had a group complain that we were all the walking we were doing, and all we had done so far was from Rockefeller Center to Radio City Music Hall. That's across the street.
Oh my God, that's not great. Well, I think I think it'll be fun to be in New York. I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
But I will be in New Orleans from Sunday through Thursday. I'm going there for Mardi Gras. A friend of mine's going through some personal issues, so I'm hoping that we can, spend some time together and lift each other's spirits through these crazy times.
Now, Luann, there will be a tour tomorrow. Yes. I don't leave until Wednesday, so there will be a tour tomorrow. There'll be a quick one. I'll be in the car. I'll be picking Patty up around 10 o'clock.
Oh, there you go.
And then we'll just do a quick one from inside the car on the way to Wisconsin to fight the good fight.
Yep. And if we can go late, if it makes sense to go a little bit later, but I think 10 sounds pretty good.
Yeah, 10's all right.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So we'll be in Wisconsin. OperationSwingState.com to sign up and join us, or find some of the other organizations that we work with. And we will be keeping you up to date on some of those events. I know that Adam's traveling a lot, so I'm glad you can come with tomorrow.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, so it's the next couple of months. I'm in and out of New York. Then there's a couple of weeks of Bob Dylan concerts. And, it's been a big day in the Bob Dylan world the last couple of days, too.
Go on, tell people.
Yeah, well, he's got in the habit lately of just posting random reels on Instagram, like movie clips and music stuff. And we always kind of, Bob got his iPad back. Or when they stop coming, or like some more official post comes up, like, they took Bob's iPad away. But the other night he posted 3 things. He posted a clip of the movie Best Years of Our Lives, a clip of the rapper Machine Gun Kelly doing an in-store 8 years ago, and in the middle of those, a 15-minute monologue that was supposed to be the last testament of Frank James, of Frank and Jesse James. And usually, our first thought was, where did he find this? Because most of the stuff he posts is just stuff that he sees on YouTube and finds amusing, right. As far as we know. Right. But then people tried to find it, and it wasn't anywhere online, and tried to find a source of the text. And I got resources for stuff like that. And it's definitely a custom-written piece. We can't say for sure that it's written by him, but it sure sounds like it was written by him. It's so similar in style to some of his other prose work. And sandwiched in between Best Years of Our Lives, which touches on the same themes as a soldier who has outlived his time, as Frank James describes himself in it. Then Machine Gun Kelly, another outlaw name. So who knows what the hell he's on about? Taylor Swift likes to send people on these wild goose chases too, but she eventually gives them the answer key. With Dylan, we will never know what he was on about with this, but the general consensus now, I thought so the first night, but I wasn't ready to say it publicly until the next morning. I could do more research, but the general consensus now is this is something he wrote himself. He either used some kind of AI voice bot to do the narration or had some friend to do it. It's a guy with a British accent. It's clearly not Frank James.
Right.
But this is like him using his iMovie 101 skills and just to sew off some new short story he wrote.
That's wild. Wow. Well,
it's been a fun wild goose chase anyway.
Well, where can folks just find that on social media?
Go to the Bob Dylan Instagram account.
Okay.
It's a reel he posted a couple of days ago. Very well written. It ties into some of the lines in it remind me of stuff that he would write. Basically, it's in the form of a lecture given by Frank James towards the end of his life, when he was a recalcitrant old former outlaw living out the last of his days as a man who had outlived his time. And frankly, I think Frank James was a fucking dick, but
right.
It's a prose piece, and it's very interesting, very well written. And it's definitely not Frank's 1926 autobiography that wasn't real to begin with. It's not an actual lecture that he is known to have given. It's not based on any kind of forgery or letters that anybody could find. It's definitely a custom written piece. He's the prime suspect for who would have written it, but it was posted without any credits or anything. He likes sending us on these wild goose chases.
And then I wonder if he tracks it or just drops it and just enjoys.
Yeah, I'm sure he just. With all of the Instagram reels and his occasional Twitter posts, I feel like he's just bored. But he doesn't know what to do with himself when he's not on the road.
Yeah.
But also, he just likes to amuse us. Not long after the election, after the tour ended up, he said, I just went to see Nick Cave play in Paris, and when he sang his song that says, "We've had enough of sorrow, we could all use some joy now," I thought, yeah, that's about right.
That is about right.
That is about right.
Well, I hope everyone can find some joy. Yep. As I've been telling everyone on the show, make sure you stay hydrated. If you're going to have some of this,
stay hydrated, keep the deck, maybe, they may be keeping on stacking the deck against us, but we can still play.
I'll see you tomorrow, Adam. Thank you so much.
All right, see you tomorrow, Patty.
Love you all. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.